everybody, and welcome to Storybook Land. My name is Anna. I will be your storyteller and your captain today aboard the Daisy. Now, before we enter Storybook Land, please make sure we remain seated, keeping our hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the boat at all times. And please make sure we supervise all of the little ones so that our story doesn't take any unexpected turns. Now, most people do travel to magical places by turning the pages of the book, but those that travel by person can go down a white rabbit hole, and they often find themselves in very magical places, or even frightening. And though it looks as though we're only traveling through the jaws of Monster the Whale, we're really being transported to a magical place called Storybook Land. Now, if you thought Monster was scary, then beware, for on the left is the cave of the Big Bad Wolf. He is always plotting on ways to getting across the canal into the houses of the three little pigs. We have a house made of straw, another made of sticks, and of course the last house is made out of 100% wolf-proof bricks. Our story is about to take a strange turn, for just around the corner is the English village of Alice in Wonderland, where on a golden afternoon, Alice followed the white rabbit, then she fell down the white rabbit hole, and into Wonderland, where things just seem to be getting curiouser and curiouser. Storybook Land is filled with magical places like London Park, which is in the center of the canal. This is the same place where Wendy John and Michael Darling followed Peter Pan, and with a little help of some pixie dust, they flew all the way to Neverland, where they never had to grow up. Yeah. Even in cities like Agrabah, where a street rat named Aladdin first bumped into Princess Jasmine, and though they were from two different places, they were able to fall in love with a little help of a genie. They were then married and now live at the top of the hill in the Sultan's palace. In places like Storybook Land is where love shines like the twinkling lights of the rose-covered archways. The same place where Aladdin and Jasmine took their magic carpet on a ride where they went over sideways and of course under to a whole new world. The stories are filled with love and light, and some of them even dark and mysterious places, like the Cave of Wonders, which is just ahead. Now its treasure does bear a curse that can only be lifted by the genie. Legend has it the one that sets the genie free will be granted 3 wishes. What would you wish for? Snow White wished for a quiet place when she fled from the evil queen, and she found it in the cottage on the right. It's the cottage of the 7 dwarves, where Snow White now lives. If you listen carefully, you might be able to hear them whistling and hi-hoing while they work. Of course, Cinderella wished to go to the ball, but her stepmother forbade it and locked Cinderella up in the blue chateau on the left-hand side. But Cinderella's fairy godmother was able to grant her wish, and Cinderella didn't leave the ball in time before midnight, and her coach turned back into a pumpkin, and you can still see it on the bridge there. But thankfully, love doesn't have any limits, and now Cinderella lives at the top of the pink and gold castle with her Prince Charming, where they now live happily ever after. Dreams can come true, just like wishes. Even dreams about falling into a deep sleep under a quilt made of desert blooms, like the one in our 1933 silly symphony, Lullaby Land. Now these desert blooms are just as magical as everything else here in Storybook Land, for they will never grow up thanks to a little magic of Tinkerbell. Stories in Storybook Land will always inspire new stories. And this place is even one of Walt Disney's favorite places because of all the stories. Even stories about a mole whose home is at the water's edge coming up on the left. And of course his best friend, Mr. Toad, in Toad Hall. But it looks as though they're not home right now. They must be on a wild ride to nowhere in particular. And beyond that is Arendell, with its castle at bay and Elsa's castle on top of the snowy white hills. And of course the Duke of Whistleton's ship anchored at the bay. This is where Anna and Elsa were able to find something more powerful than Elsa's magic, which is the power of love. Even in places like the Alpine village where Geppetto was able to carve Pinocchio, where then he carved his puppet Pinocchio, but then he made him into a real boy, thanks to a little help of the Blue Fairy. Lots of wishes are made here in Storybook Land, like the one of the Little Mermaid who wished to be part of our world after she followed Prince Eric and fell in love. But before she was part of our world, the Little Mermaid lived under the sea in the city of Atlantica with her father, King Train, where then she had her adventures and then led her to her happily ever after. Now that happily ever after is the last one of our stories here at Storybook Land. And as we approach the dock, please make sure we keep all hands, arms, and fingers inside the boat. And on my count of three, we'll all stand up together so our boat doesn't go tipping over and we don't go under the sea. Now, on behalf of all the storytellers here at Storybook Land, we hope you all have a magical rest of your day here at Disneyland. And we hope you all live happily ever after. And